Do you want to build professional quality furniture with minimal tools? Well, you need a pocket hole jig. This simple jig works with your drill to create hidden joints so your furniture won't have a bunch of screws and holes showing. You can use it to join boards together edge to edge, like for a tabletop. Join boards to 4x4 posts on beds and table bases. It makes basic joinery precise, strong, and hidden. And you don't need a lot of experience to master using it.
Hi, my name is Anna White. I've been building furniture using pocket hole joinery for about 15 years. In this video, I'm going to show you my 25 top tips.
The pocket hole jig that I recommend is the Kreg 720. It auto adjusts so you can go between different thicknesses of wood without having to make adjustments. You can even get into a pocket hole jig for under $50. And like this that clamps onto your board is very inexpensive. And even if you want to upgrade later, this is still a great tool to have around. Also consider used options. My original Kreg jig, and it's still in great working condition. I only went to this one because it auto adjusts. There's a lot of off-brand jigs out there too. I haven't personally tried them, not sponsored by Kreg at this point. I'm just trying to get you what I know is a good tool because I want you to make great furniture. When you buy a pocket hole jig, it should come with a drill bit. And the drill bit's going to go into the guide and drill at an angle. So these are easy to adjust. I've got one set for 3/4 inch and one set for 1.5 inches. I keep both of these in my shop. That way I don't have to adjust collars. Clamp the board in here. Since I've got 3/4 inch material, drill bit set the 3/4 inch setting. I recommend a minimum of 2 per board. If your board is even wider, you'll want to go every 8 to 10 inches. So I'm going to put that second pocket hole on this other end. We've got the pocket holes drilled, so I can put all this away and we can move on to actually driving the screws. Use a square to mark out where the joint is. So ideally you'd want to clamp things as you drive that screw, likely that the top board is going to slip. So here's some solutions. You can apply a little bit of glue first and allow that glue to dry, and that will hold it in place, but you have to wait for the glue to dry. Another option is use a brad nailer, because nails are cheap and they're easy to hide. Tack in just a couple brad nails, that'll hold it in place. So another technique that I'll do, and this takes some practice, is I'll just bring that top board about a 1/16 inch in from my line that I want to attach it. And then when I drive my screw, it'll slip just a tiny bit. So this is definitely something that takes getting the feel for it, but once you do, it can save you a ton of time. There is one additional method that you can try to keep your joint from slipping on you, and that is just to press down really firmly with your drill bit on the screw when you initially start driving it. And what that's going to do is it's going to push that screw through into the next wood and set it. Before we drive a screw, let's talk a little bit about the drill. And most modern drills will have a drilling and a driving setting. So this setting you would use to drill the holes, and then this is for setting the screws. The difference is that when the drill reaches a certain amount of torque, it fails on you essentially. So you can't overdrive a screw and strip out your screw holes. Try to orientate your boards when you're joining them so that you can use gravity and you're pushing down. This will make driving screws a lot easier. I want this to be on the top because the screw is going to go like that into the meat of the wood. I don't want to do this because this piece here can break off so easily. If you're having trouble with screws blowing out the backboard, this can be frustrating, but there's an easy fix. Just adjust the collar down on the drilling bit until it no longer is happening. You can also use pocket holes for joining boards edge to edge, like this. To prepare, you do need straight square edges to work with. If you don't, then I especially see this for like 2x2 tabletops, your boards will start to do this. I'm gonna show you two different ways to do this. So I already drilled the pocket holes about every 8 inches. Lay them flat, clamp it, and then drive this screw. I want to show you another method that I think is faster, especially if you're doing like a lot of pocket holes, you have a big project, you don't want to clamp every joint, or if you're going with a board that's too big to be clamped, like let's say you have a 1x10 and your clamp doesn't reach, right? What do you do then? So this method enables you to do this really quickly. I love this method. Pocket hole jig really is a miracle tool, but there is such a thing as overbuilding with pocket holes because pocket holes can be time consuming. It does take some forethought. The screws are more expensive than nails, and if you have to hide them or fill them, they're harder to finish out than say a brad nail. So what I like to do is a combination. I'll use the pocket holes for the structure, then I'll add the trim with brad nails, and I'll use brad nails where I can because they're easy to hide, they're easy to drive, and they're cheap. You can plug these holes. They do sell plugs that you can put in there. My personal experience is it's not the most fun to hide, and even if you do get the plug in there, the grain's different. So if you stain it, they're still somewhat visible. What I personally do is I try to hide my pocket holes the best that I can. Okay, last tip. So you're all ready to jump into that project, and I'm gonna say, hold on. Take a couple scrap pieces of wood that are actually left over from the project and test a few pocket holes. Make sure your settings are right. You never know that the wood thicknesses can vary slightly, especially with plywood. The density can vary, so the screw might overdrive into it. It's always good just to take the exact material you're using for your project, test a couple pocket holes, and then you can dive into building something. Just a quick couple of tips from our Facebook community. And if you have any tips for pocket holes, please add them to the comments. With a little practice and a little patience, you can be building professional looking furniture using your pocket hole jig. I'm Anna White. Thanks so much for watching these tips and tricks and using my free plans.